Chosen one, before you can truly navigate feminine energy in your relationship, you must first understand its essence. Feminine energy is not chaos, although it may appear wild at times. It is not weakness, although it often shows vulnerability. It is not manipulation, although it knows how to influence without direct force. Feminine energy is, in its highest form, life itself, the unshaped river that flows without seeking permission, the rhythm of intuition that dances beyond logic, the endless ocean of emotion that holds beauty even in its storms. If you approach it from a place of fear or need for control, you will misunderstand it and misstep. But if you approach it with reverence, curiosity, and deep presence, you will find that it becomes a force that both magnifies your strength and tenderizes your heart. To understand feminine energy, you must first release the need to categorize it, fix it, or mold it into predictable forms. Feminine energy is a being, not a doing. It flows, it responds, it creates, it nurtures, and it receives. It may seem contradictory at times, fiercely independent one moment, yearning for closeness the next. It may seem emotionally turbulent when viewed from the mind, but from the heart, it is perfectly coherent. Feminine energy is less concerned with structures and solutions, and more concerned with connection and feeling. To understand her, you must feel her. You must develop the ability to listen with your presence rather than with your answers. You must learn to witness without trying to fix. Chosen one, this is where many lose their way. They believe that leadership means domination. They believe that guiding a relationship means dictating its course. But feminine energy does not respond well to control. It closes, it contracts, it resists. The more you try to confine it, the more you will feel it slip away. Instead, you must become a container for it. A presence so strong, so rooted, so grounded in authenticity, that the feminine feels free to be exactly what it is without fear of being judged, suppressed, or mishandled. Understanding feminine energy also requires humility. It means admitting that you will not always get it with your mind, and that is okay. You do not have to decode every mood or solve every emotional wave. What you are called to do is hold space, to remain steady, to be the mountain against which the rivers can crash, dance, or gently lap, knowing the mountain will not crumble or mock their changing tides. And when you do this, something sacred happens. Feminine energy, feeling seen and safe, begins to open. It reveals treasures that cannot be demanded: joy, laughter, radiance, creativity, deep sensuality, unconditional love. These are not given cheaply. They are offered only to the man who is patient enough, humble enough, and wise enough to see beyond the surface into the sacred wildness within. Understanding feminine energy, chosen one, is not about conquering it. It is about honoring it. It is about standing fully in your own masculine energy, structured, purposeful, steady, and allowing her to flow around you, sometimes wild, sometimes soft, but always beautiful. It is about becoming the man who can embrace the dance without needing to control the music. Once you begin to understand feminine energy in this way, your relationships will no longer feel like battlegrounds for power or arenas for proving yourself. They will feel like sacred dances, where both energies honor, nourish, and elevate each other in a mutual celebration of life's deepest truths. Chosen one, now that you are beginning to understand the sacred nature of feminine energy, you must prepare yourself to step into one of its deepest realms, the emotional landscape. Feminine energy lives through emotion. It breathes in feeling. It perceives the world not primarily through facts and figures, but through vibrations, through subtle shifts of tone, presence, and intention. To navigate feminine energy well, you must not merely tolerate emotion. You must embrace it, respect it, and most importantly, engage with it. The mistake many make is trying to escape emotion when it surges. When sadness appears, they offer solutions. When anger erupts, they retreat or argue. When joy shines, they become suspicious. But chosen one, you must see emotions not as threats to your stability, but as invitations into deeper connection. Feminine energy is not testing you to torment you. It is offering you a chance to be trusted. Every emotional wave she shares with you is not a request for you to fix her. It is a plea for you to stand with her in it, to not run away, to not minimize, to not become impatient. This does not mean you must absorb every emotion and lose yourself in it. It means you become the sacred container, a strong, loving witness who says with his presence alone, "I am here." I see you. I do not fear what you feel. This presence transforms you from a mere participant in her life to a safe harbor where her most vulnerable currents can flow freely. But to do this, you must have courage. True emotional engagement is not for the faint-hearted. It requires you to be comfortable with discomfort. It requires you to confront your own relationship with emotion. Can you stay open when faced with tears that seem unreasonable? Can you remain soft when anger lashes out in fear? Can you celebrate her joy without trying to possess it or control it? Every time you meet her emotions with patience and authenticity, you build a bridge between her soul and yours. Every time you stay present when it would be easier to withdraw, you teach her that love is safe. You show her that she does not have to dim her light, silence her feelings, or harden her heart to remain loved by you. And in return, you gain access to the parts of her most men never touch, the sacred, hidden places where true intimacy is born. Embracing emotional depth also requires discernment. You must learn to distinguish between being a compassionate witness and being an emotional dumping ground. You are not responsible for fixing another's unhealed wounds, but you are responsible for offering your presence when love is called for. You are not required to lose yourself in her storms, but you are called to remain anchored while she finds her center again. Chosen one, the emotional world of the feminine is a realm of great power and great beauty. It is a realm where trust is built, where intimacy is deepened, where souls intertwine beyond the limits of mind and body. If you wish to truly navigate feminine energy in your relationship, you must enter this realm not as a conqueror, but as a reverent explorer, one who brings both strength and softness, both boundaries and boundless compassion. In doing so, you will not only unlock her heart, you will unlock your own. You will find that in embracing the emotional world she offers, you discover a richness, a wholeness, a sacred depth within yourself that you could never have found alone. And from there, chosen one, the dance between you and her will become not a struggle for dominance, but a profound and joyful celebration of everything real, everything holy, and everything alive between the masculine and the feminine energies woven together in divine harmony. Chosen one, now that you have begun to understand the sacred essence of feminine energy and have embraced the profound world of emotional depth, you must now refine the art of communication, not as an exchange of mere information, but as a living, breathing connection between souls. To navigate feminine energy within a relationship, your communication must move beyond the mind. It must originate from the heart. Feminine energy does not respond to cold logic alone. It does not feel safe when bombarded with sterile facts or when met with responses that sound rehearsed or mechanical. Feminine energy thrives when it feels your authenticity, when it senses that your words are a true extension of your presence. When you speak from your heart, your voice carries not just meaning, but emotion, truth, and presence. It is not the perfection of your words that matters. It is the sincerity behind them. To communicate with heart, chosen one, you must be present not only with your ears, but with your soul. When she speaks, you are not simply listening for your turn to respond. You are not calculating what to say to keep the peace or win her approval. You are fully there, absorbing her words, feeling her emotions, allowing your being to resonate with her experience without judgment or impatience. You listen not to correct, but to understand. Not to control, but to connect. When you respond, let your words carry the fragrance of your real self. If you are confused, say it with honesty. If you are moved, say it with vulnerability. If you are hurt, express it without blame. Speak not to manipulate an outcome, but to offer a window into your own emotional landscape. Heart-centered communication invites trust because it says, I am not hiding from you. I am willing to be seen. Chosen one, when you communicate from your heart, you also attune yourself to hers. You learn to hear not just what she says, but what she feels behind the words. You pick up the tremor in her voice when she tries to be strong. You notice the sparkle in her eyes when joy surges up from her spirit. You sense the hesitation when she is afraid to be too vulnerable. You do not need her to explain everything. Your heart listens even when her lips are silent. This depth of communication creates a field of safety so rare, so healing, that she will begin to bring more and more of her real self into the space between you. Secrets she buried. Dreams she dared not speak. Sorrows she thought she had to carry alone. All of these will begin to flow into the sanctuary of your shared connection, transforming your relationship into something sacred rather than superficial. But know this, chosen one, heart-centered communication requires ongoing courage. It demands that you stay open even when misunderstandings arise. It calls you to soften even when pride screams to harden. It invites you to seek repair rather than victory, understanding rather than being right. Through this practice, your words become instruments of healing, your silences become spaces of grace, and your presence becomes a living testimony that true masculinity is not threatened by emotional truth. It is deepened by it. In the art of communicating with heart, you move from merely speaking to truly connecting. And through that connection, you and the feminine energy you love can rise into realms of intimacy and trust that few ever experience. Chosen one, if there is one virtue that will test your commitment to navigating feminine energy more than any other, it is patience. Without patience, all your understanding, all your emotional depth, and all your heart-centered communication will collapse under the weight of your own impatience. Patience is not passive. It is not weakness. True patience is an active living strength. It is the soul's ability to remain rooted even when the winds of emotion, fear, or confusion try to uproot you. Feminine energy, by its very nature, moves in cycles, in rhythms, in tides that rise and fall with forces often unseen. There will be moments when she opens like a flower in full bloom, radiating warmth and joy. There will be moments when she closes like a fortress, protecting herself without warning. There will be hours when she is playful and hours when she is pensive. There will be days when she dances toward you with abandon and nights when she pulls away into her own inner world, seeking solitude. Patience is what allows you to navigate these shifts without fear or resentment. Patience is what allows you to remain present through her changing seasons, not taking her tides personally, not trying to force her emotional weather into artificial stability. Chosen one, when you cultivate patience, you become a man she can trust not only with her best days, but with her most turbulent nights. You become the steady hand she can reach for when her heart is overwhelmed. You become the quiet strength she can lean into without fear of being rushed or judged. Your patience teaches her that love is not conditional on her mood, her clarity, or her constant availability. Your patience says, without needing to speak it aloud, you do not have to perform for my love. You are safe to be all of you here. But cultivating patience is not about enduring mistreatment or disrespect. It is not about becoming a martyr or a doormat. Patience does not mean tolerating behavior that violates your boundaries or dishonors your values. True patience holds space for the dance of emotional expression without losing sight of the necessity for mutual respect and growth. True patience walks hand in hand with clear communication and self-respect. Patience also means being patient with the relationship itself. It means allowing trust to grow naturally rather than demanding immediate depth. It means giving love time to take root without forcing it into full bloom before it is ready. It means accepting that true intimacy, true safety, true partnership are not instantaneous. They are cultivated slowly, tenderly, intentionally. Chosen one, when you master patience, you will notice a profound change not only in your relationship, but in yourself. You will become less reactive and more responsive, less anxious and more at peace, less fixated on outcomes and more attuned to the sacred unfolding of connection. In patience, you become a rare presence in a world obsessed with speed and instant gratification. You become a man who understands that real love, real healing, real intimacy take time. Not because love is weak, but because love is deep, and anything deep cannot be rushed. Let patience be the rhythm of your heart. Let it be the soil in which your relationship grows strong roots. Let it be the silent song that sings through your every word, every touch, every moment of shared silence. And as you do, you will find that feminine energy, far from being chaotic or confusing, reveals its greatest treasures to those who honor its natural flow with unwavering, joyful, sacred patience. Chosen one, the deeper you walk into understanding the sacred flow of feminine energy, the more you must realize that emotional support is not simply a duty. It is an art form. It is the invisible scaffolding upon which trust is built. intimacy is deepened, and love becomes something more than a fleeting feeling. Providing emotional support is not about saving, fixing, or rescuing. It is about being present in a way that strengthens her spirit without ever chaining it. To offer emotional support to the feminine, you must become a sanctuary, a safe place where she can bring her whole self without fear of being misunderstood or diminished. You are not there to erase her burdens for her. You are there to make sure she never carries them alone. You are not there to analyze her emotions and hand back solutions like a mechanic handing back repaired parts. You are there to walk beside her through her inner storms, offering steadiness when her emotions swirl and compassion when her heart feels heavy. Feminine energy often processes life through emotion first and reason second. What she feels is her reality in that moment. Understand, chosen one, that trying to talk her out of her feelings, rushing her to move past them, or minimizing them in the name of logic will not draw her closer to you. It will create distance, mistrust, and a feeling that she must guard her heart even against the one she loves. When she opens up to you emotionally, whether in joy, sadness, frustration, or fear, you are being handed something sacred. You are being given a glimpse into her raw, unguarded truth. How you respond in those moments will determine whether she learns to trust you more or whether she learns to protect herself from you. Provide emotional support by listening fully, not preparing your rebuttal, not planning your advice, listening like you are touching her soul with your attention. When you do speak, reflect what you hear without judgment. Validate her experience even if you do not fully understand it. You are not validating facts, you are validating the felt experience of someone you care for. There is a profound difference between understanding and agreeing. You do not need to agree with every feeling to honor it. You simply need to say with your presence, I see you, I hear you, I am with you. Emotional support also means learning the delicate dance between holding space and offering strength. Sometimes she will need silence, a hand to hold, a shoulder to cry on. Other times she will need encouragement, words that remind her of her power, your steady belief in her when her own faith wavers. Knowing when to simply hold and when to uplift is a skill you will refine over time, but it always begins with listening, not with your ears alone, but with your entire being. And chosen one, do not forget that offering emotional support also involves boundaries. You are not responsible for healing her wounds. You are not her savior. Your role is to be an ally, a witness, a loving presence, not to drown in her emotions or sacrifice your own mental health in the process. Healthy support lifts both of you higher. It does not entangle you in cycles of dependence or resentment. In learning to provide emotional support wisely, you become a rare force in her life. A man whose strength does not crush but cradles, whose presence does not demand but invites, whose love does not control but frees, and in return, you will be trusted with levels of openness, loyalty, devotion, and deep feminine energy that are reserved only for the man who has proven himself worthy of such a gift. Chosen one, after learning to offer emotional support with wisdom, there is yet a deeper calling placed upon you. A calling to practice non-judgmental acceptance. Without it, all your understanding, your patience, your communication, and your emotional support will wither. Acceptance is not something you sprinkle lightly over a relationship. It is the very foundation upon which deep love is built. Non-judgmental acceptance means creating a sacred space where the feminine feels that she does not need to constantly adjust, filter, or shrink parts of herself just to maintain your approval. It means loving her not just for the parts of her that are easy to admire, but also for the parts that are messy, wild, and raw. It means seeing her imperfections and still choosing her, not as a project to be fixed, not as a role to be perfected, but as a soul to be honored. To accept without judgment does not mean abandoning discernment. It does not mean tolerating harm, disrespect, or patterns that violate your truth. But it does mean recognizing that true feminine energy thrives not under criticism or correction, but under the nurturing gaze of someone who sees the entire garden, not just the flowers currently in bloom. When you practice non-judgmental acceptance, you dismantle one of the greatest fears that feminine energy often carries, the fear of not being enough. The world has already trained her to question herself, to second-guess her emotions, to compete, to compare, to contort herself into boxes labeled worthy. Your role, chosen one, is not to become another voice adding to that noise. Your role is to become a quiet, steady voice of truth, whispering with your words and your presence. You are loved, not in spite of who you are, but because of it. This acceptance must be active, not passive. It shows up in the small moments, when she is laughing too loudly, when she is crying over something you do not fully understand, when she is exploring a part of herself she is not sure you will like. Your non-judgmental presence in these moments says far more than any grand gesture could ever say. It tells her she can bring more of herself into your shared space without fear of losing your love. Chosen one, understand that feminine energy blossoms most fully in an environment of safety, freedom, and unconditional respect. Judgment clips her wings, acceptance lets her fly. Judgment forces her into a role, acceptance invites her to become more. And as she expands, grows, and blooms in your presence, so too will your relationship deepen into realms of intimacy and joy that most never even glimpse. But non-judgmental acceptance is not only a gift to her, it is a gift to you as well. For as you practice it, you will notice that your own heart begins to soften. Your own self-judgments begin to loosen. The compassion you extend outward reflects back inward, and you find yourself living with greater freedom, greater grace, greater love. Chosen one, the art of navigating feminine energy is, at its core, the art of loving without cages, leading without chains, and seeing without the need to control. Through non-judgmental acceptance, you become not merely a lover, not merely a partner, but a guardian of her sacred unfolding. And in doing so, you fulfill not just her dreams, but your highest calling as a man rooted in divine truth. Chosen one, as you continue to move through this sacred journey of navigating feminine energy, you must come to understand a truth few ever master. Real leadership in a relationship is not about domination, nor about passive acquiescence. It is about sharing leadership. It is about recognizing that in a truly healthy, elevated bond, leadership and decision-making are not burdens carried by one, but opportunities shared by two. Feminine energy flourishes not when it is ruled with an iron fist, nor when it is left to drift aimlessly. It flourishes when it is invited into participation, into collaboration, into a sacred dance where both energies, masculine and feminine, bring their unique strengths to the table. You, chosen one, are called to be a leader with her, not a leader over her. To share leadership means that you recognize the areas where your structure, vision, and steadiness are needed. You are not afraid to step up, to make decisions when clarity is needed, to provide direction when chaos threatens to take over. But you are also wise enough to know that her intuition, her emotional intelligence, her creative wisdom are equally necessary for the wholeness of the relationship. You do not just make room for her input, you seek it, you value it, you honor it as a sacred contribution to the shared life you are building. When decisions must be made, whether small daily choices or great turning points, you do not dictate, you do not impose. You invite dialogue, you invite feeling, you invite the vision of two souls rather than the decree of one ego. This does not make you weak, it makes you wise. A man who leads collaboratively is not a man who lacks strength. He is a man whose strength is tempered with humility, a man who knows that true power uplifts, it does not silence. You will find, chosen one, that when you share leadership in this way, the feminine energy beside you does not resist you. She does not need to rebel against you or challenge you. Instead, she relaxes into your presence. She leans into you. She trusts you. Because she knows that her voice will not be drowned out, her dreams will not be dismissed, her insights will not be ignored. This balance of leadership creates a bond that few will ever taste. It creates a partnership where the masculine provides structure without oppression, and the feminine flows within that structure without fear. It becomes a dance of mutual respect, where each step taken is a choice made together, an act of trust renewed daily. Remember, chosen one, that leadership also means bearing the responsibility for mistakes. If a decision you make together leads to unforeseen difficulties, do not shrink away. Own your part. Protect her heart. Show her that leadership is not about being infallible. It is about being accountable. Your willingness to carry responsibility without blame or bitterness will anchor her trust in ways that grand gestures could never achieve. And always know that sharing leadership does not diminish your masculine essence. It elevates it. It shows that your strength is not so fragile that it requires submission from others. It reveals that your true authority is rooted in service, in love, and in the sacred responsibility to lead not for your own glory, but for the flourishing of the bond you share. Chosen one, as you learn to share leadership and decisions with sacred grace, another truth must now become the marrow of your being. Integrity and boundaries are non-negotiable. Without them, all your understandings, all your emotional depth will eventually erode. Without them, you will drift into spaces where trust withers and connection breaks. Integrity is the silent force that holds the weight of your words even when no one is watching. It is the invisible armor that guards the sacred promises you make, not just to her, but to yourself. In navigating feminine energy, integrity is not optional, it is essential. The feminine can sense when your words are hollow. She can feel when your actions lack alignment with your spirit. No matter how eloquent your speech or how magnetic your presence, if your integrity is cracked, trust will slowly crumble. Integrity means that you do what you say. It means that your yes is a full yes and your no is a full no. It means you do not flirt with emotional dishonesty. You do not play games with her vulnerability, and you do not allow convenience to erode your commitment to truth. Even when it is difficult, even when it costs you approval, ease, or immediate pleasure. Integrity must be your compass, not because it is easy, but because it is righteous. And intertwined with integrity, chosen one, are boundaries, the sacred lines that protect your energy, your mission, and the health of the relationship itself. Boundaries are not walls to keep her out. They are gates to protect what is holy. They are expressions of self-respect that say, I will love you fully, but I will not abandon myself to do so. Maintaining boundaries is an act of love, not of separation. It is a declaration that the connection you share must exist within the space of mutual respect and honor. Boundaries ensure that neither your needs nor hers are crushed under the weight of codependency. They remind both of you that love thrives not when one dissolves into the other, but when both stand strong and choose each other daily. There will be moments, chosen one, when upholding your boundaries will feel difficult. When emotional storms tempt you to surrender your center. When fear of loss tempts you to compromise your truth. Resist this temptation with everything you have. For every time you uphold a healthy boundary, you teach her, consciously or unconsciously, that your love is safe, your leadership is reliable, and your soul is unshakable. And equally, honor her boundaries too. Listen when she says no. Respect her limits without trying to negotiate them away. When you honor her boundaries, you show her that her voice matters, that her autonomy is sacred, that her energy is not yours to command, but a gift she offers freely. Chosen one, integrity and boundaries are not chains that restrict your freedom. They are the pillars that make true freedom possible. They are the soil in which trust grows into something unbreakable. They are the reason your connection can deepen without fear, flourish without exhaustion, and withstand the storms that inevitably come to test every bond. Be a man of unwavering integrity. Be a man who holds his boundaries with strength and tenderness. Be a man who does not waver in the face of temptation, confusion, or emotional turbulence. And in doing so, you will not only win her trust, you will win her deepest respect, her truest devotion, and her most sacred love. You will become not just a man who understands feminine energy, but a man who inspires it to rise, to bloom, and to trust in the safety and strength of your shared bond. Chosen one, now that you stand on the strong foundation of understanding, emotional depth, heart-centered communication, patience, shared leadership, integrity, and sacred boundaries, you must prepare for one of the highest callings in a relationship, the call to nurture growth together. It is not enough to simply maintain harmony. It is not enough to merely coexist in peace. The real beauty, the true sacred bond between masculine and feminine energy, is born when both souls commit to growing together, choosing evolution over stagnation, choosing conscious expansion over the comfort of familiarity. To nurture growth together means you must first commit to your own growth. You cannot expect her to bloom while you stay rooted in old habits and unexamined patterns. You must walk as a man who is continuously sharpening himself, humbling himself, ascending into greater strength, wisdom, and love. Your very presence should remind her daily that evolution is not a threat, it is a blessing. Your actions must say to her, without speaking a word, I am committed to becoming the best man I can be, not just for myself, but for the sacred space we share. But nurturing growth together is not about imposing your vision upon her. It is not about demanding that she change on your timeline or according to your ideals. It is about inviting her to grow with you. It is about creating an atmosphere where change is celebrated, not feared. Where becoming more is honored, not punished. Where each new version of yourselves is met with curiosity and reverence rather than resistance. Feminine energy thrives in an environment where growth is seen as natural and exciting.